Here's the paradox. The man who plays by the rules, who listens, supports, showers her with attention, even elevates her socially and emotionally, he still loses her. She smiles less, pulls back, grows distant. It's almost as if the more he tries to prove himself, the more he fades into the background of her desires. What went wrong? Why does doing everything right often lead to emotional exile rather than connection? The answer is not in what you do, but in how she tests you. And this testing is not a sign of doubt, but a secret biological signal. A deeply ingrained evolutionary fact that nearly every man completely misunderstands. At the heart of female attraction lies a means of decoding not only intent but value, a system honed over hundreds of thousands of years. Women don't just want a nice guy any more than wolves settle for the weakest chaser in the pack. Attraction isn't a checklist, and it isn't a static state. It's a dynamic, living negotiation driven by neurochemistry and evolutionary strategy. When a woman tests a man, she is not toying with his emotions, she is deciphering a complex signal. A filter encoded in her brain's ancient wiring and powered by hormones like oxytocin, dopamine, and cortisol. Her tests are like a polygraph for authenticity, dominance, and emotional fortitude. Most men interpret these challenges as obstacles or criticism. They think keeping her interested means removing conflict, becoming her safe space, or fulfilling her every emotional need. But biology tells a different story. Safety, predictability, and compliance trigger neither excitement nor desire. They trigger comfort, a slow fading of that primal spark. The truth is brutal. Women seek a man who can withstand the storms she conjures, not one who melts at the first gust of questioning. Her tests provoke stress responses meant to reveal weakness or strength. The surge of cortisol she feels when pushing boundaries is not accidental, it's a controlled fire, forcing you to display resilience and emotional mastery under pressure. From an evolutionary standpoint, these behaviors have a clear purpose. Throughout history, female reproductive success hinged on selecting partners who could navigate scarcity, protect against threats, and maintain long-term commitment without losing their edge. This biological imperative surfaces every time a woman assesses a man's reactions, even now in modern contexts. Why? Because beneath the layers of social norms and romantic idealism lies a primal algorithm encoded in her brain, assessing genetic fitness and emotional reliability simultaneously. She is encoding her environment through subconscious signals, and you become the key variable in that calculation. Consider the neurological basis. The limbic system, which governs emotion and survival instincts, is the battlefield where attraction is won or lost. When she tests you, her amygdala is scanning for danger, betrayal, or weakness. Her prefrontal cortex tries to rationalize the interaction, but the primal system often overrides reason. This is why she may say one thing, "You're perfect," while her body language or micro-expressions convey ambivalence or even rejection. The signals contradict because she's running a simulated stress test on your character and compatibility. This secret filter is invisible unless you know what to look for and how to respond. Failure to pass this test means losing her interest, not because you lacked kindness, but because you lacked strategic dominance. This is the dark core of the female mind, a paradox wrapped in warmth and mystery. It is not that women don't want connection, they crave it fiercely. But their craving comes with an invisible price tag. The need to ensure the bond is with someone worthy of her investment. Someone impervious to manipulation, and someone who commands her subconscious respect. Testing is her way of safeguarding that bond against dilution or abandonment. A biological fact that no amount of smooth talk or romantic gestures can circumvent. Here lies your advantage. Awareness of this hidden mechanism grants you psychological mastery. Understanding the nature of her tests transforms frustration into insight. It reveals the elegant evolutionary dance where desire is both spark and crucible. But most men remain blind to this, trapped in a naive script where trying harder means winning her heart. The cruel irony is that the more you try to please, the less attractive you become. You become a foothold she no longer needs to climb, a solved puzzle when she instinctively craves a challenge. Now, imagine what it means to truly embody the kind of man who not only passes her tests but makes her want to test him again and again. To become not just the source of comfort, but the source of intrigue, suspense, and deep psychological pull. Who holds the secret codes to her desire like a master holds keys to a locked door. This is no ordinary skill. It is a dark art that confounds most but empowers a few. But the question remains, what exactly are these tests? And how does she use them to sift through the noise and find the man who will ignite her primal fire instead of extinguishing it? What signals is she sending beneath the surface? And how must a man act when those signals arrive? The answers are buried deep in biology, psychology, and evolutionary strategy. Hidden truths that redefine the rules of attraction and dominance. If you have ever felt that pull of confusion, the sting of rejection despite your best efforts, it is because you have been dancing on the edge of a secret most men never uncover. The battlefield isn't external, it's inside her mind. The place where desire is given or withheld by subtle challenges designed to reveal your core. To master attraction, you must learn to read these signals, anticipate her tests, and respond with unshakable confidence and strategic subtlety. Fail to grasp this, and you remain invisible, forgotten, an echo lost in the noise of countless admirers. But grasp it, and you step into a realm where emotional tension becomes the fuel of passion. Where every test turns into an opportunity to deepen connection, and where you become the man she not only needs but wants to conquer her own limits for. The real question isn't why she tests you, but what will you do when she does? Because that moment, charged with primal energy and silent challenges, is the moment she tests you is never random. It is a precise strike, a silent pulse beating beneath the calm surface of her eyes. What you see as irritation, skepticism, or challenge is, in truth, an ancient call to prove yourself worthy, not to her, nor simply to the world, but to the deep, unseen code etched into her being. This code is a confluence of neurochemistry and millennia-old evolutionary imperatives. It demands a performance beyond mere charm or good intentions. It requires you to step into a role far older than convenience or kindness. A role where dominance is not about power over others but power over yourself. Within the labyrinth of her subconscious, the tests are navigation beacons, mapping your emotional terrain. They measure how you react to ambiguity, pressure, and the nebulous shadow of uncertainty. You must understand that desire does not thrive in safety alone. It is drawn magnetically to the tension between danger and trust, between unpredictability and loyalty. This tension stimulates the primal cocktail of dopamine and cortisol, a chemical symphony that induces exhilaration and heightens emotional investment. When she challenges you, when she disrupts the flow of comfort with a pointed question or a subtle dismissal, she ignites this neurochemical alchemy. She is reaching beneath polite conversation to glimpse the unvarnished essence of your character. Biologically, this is no accident but strategy, enforced by her limbic system, the ancient portion of her brain responsible for survival and attachment. As her amygdala lights up, scanning for threats or weaknesses, her body secretes cortisol, triggering a controlled stress response designed to test your resilience. But here lies the paradox. Your reaction must not mirror danger with defensiveness or retreat but must instead transmute this pressure into composed confidence. It's a delicate dance where your emotional fortitude is not the absence of feeling but the mastery over it. Every slight, every challenge she hurls is a test of your narrative integrity, a measure of whether your presence in her world can endure the chaos of life's storms. The evolutionary impulse behind this testing is clear when we strip away the social veneer. For thousands of generations, women have relied on these silent interrogations to select mates who could maintain dominance without tyranny, strength without volatility, and vulnerability without collapse. To be attractive is to embody this balance, A man who is at once unpredictable to stimulate the thrill centers of her brain and steadfast enough to quell the anxieties embedded deep within her survival instincts. It is a biological fact that attraction paradoxically flourishes where discomfort is controlled and contained but never fully suppressed. In the crucible of modern relationships, this primal truth often becomes distorted. Many men, conditioned by social norms that prize affection and agreeability, mistake compliance for connection. They believe love is a battleground where surrender ensures victory. But nature's blueprint is more intricate, more merciless. Her tests are not gates to be bypassed with a smile or a fragile promise. They are sieves filtering the transient from the profound. Those who falter become ghosts in the narrative of her desire, their names fading among the chorus of admirers who never stood the heat of her scrutiny. When you begin to respond instead of react, when you harness the power of deliberate stillness, measured vulnerability, and unspoken certainty, you tap into a hidden reservoir of attraction few men ever access. This is the realm where emotional tension is not avoided but invited, where push and pull become a languid, hypnotic rhythm that deepens the bond rather than erodes it. The tests she brings are no longer obstacles but invitations to ascend to a state of being where you are both the storm and the shelter, the question and the answer, the mystery and the revelation. Yet, this is no simple performance. It demands uncompromising honesty with yourself, an embrace of your own shadows and light. To master her tests is to navigate not only her desire but your own internal landscapes, where fear, pride, and longing intersect. It is to realize that the greatest dominion you wield is over the emotional frequencies you broadcast into the world. And through this mastery, you become a man who is not just wanted but essential, a figure who embodies the contradictions she seeks: strength without arrogance, passion without chaos, and presence without desperation. This biological paradox whispers a profound, unsettling truth. Desire is never granted in comfort alone. It is won in moments fraught with unspoken tension and silent negotiation, where her ancient wiring demands that you not only withstand her storms but become the force that conjures them. The dance of attraction is therefore not a serene waltz but a tempestuous battleground where emotional volatility is the currency of connection. So the question remains, formidable and stark. When the storm rises in her eyes, will you stand firm as her grounding or unravel beneath the controlled fire of her scrutiny? Will you meet her tests with a submissive apology or with the dark, quiet confidence of a man who knows that to be desired is to be challenged, and to be challenged is to be eternally alive in her deepest, most secret narrative? For in that moment lies the ultimate revelation, that to conquer her desire is to first conquer the fragile, volatile realm within yourself.
Biological paradox, whispering truth.
The moment she issues her challenge, the glance that lingers a fraction too long, the question laced with subtle doubt, the touch that tests your steadiness, this is not mere happenstance. It is a finely tuned mechanism designed to awaken the dormant instincts buried deep in you. Beneath the veneer of civility and polished charm, There exists a feral call that demands you rise, not fall, that bristles against submission, not comfort. The tests she weaves are echoes of an ancient script written in our DNA, coded by millennia of survival and desire. To understand this script is to recognize that attraction is never founded on ease or entitlement. It is forged in the crucible of uncertainty, resistance, and the silent wars waged behind closed eyes. Her mind is an engine running on dual impulses, security and arousal, a paradox that stirs storms within her limbic system. She craves the warmth of safety, yes, but it is the unpredictable flame of risk that electrifies her senses and keeps her desire awake. When she probes you, she is not merely seeking kindness or reassurance. She is searching for a profound signal of resilience, one that speaks louder than words and sweeter than promises. Her brain hunts for a man whose emotional circuitry does not collapse under pressure but pirouettes through turbulence with unwavering grace. It is here, in your ability to remain composed without retreating into easy submission, that you become enigmatic, magnetic, a man who embodies both the wild and the wise. Neurochemistry reveals the hidden dance beneath her tests. Dopamine floods her system as she experiences the thrill of uncertainty, the subtle tension between challenge and acceptance. This chemical seduction is amplified when you resist swallowing her bait too quickly or when your responses carry the weight of authentic self-control. Oxytocin, the hormone of bonding, does not flourish in sterile gardens of predictability. It blooms under the heat of shared emotional conquest, where your strength and vulnerability intersect with deliberate balance. Her cortisol spikes during testing are not signs to retreat but invitations to show that your nervous system can weather the storm without surrendering. The chemistry of attraction is a volatile alchemy that rewards those who understand its rules, punishing those who do not with emotional exile and growing indifference. The evolutionary blueprint at play here is brutal, yet exquisite. For tens of thousands of years, female reproductive success depended on decoding these tests as filters for the finest genetic and emotional mate. She needs a partner who can not only survive conflict but emerge from it reaffirmed and elevated, stronger, clearer, more compelling. This explains why the nice guy, who attempts to appease, who smooths every wrinkle in their interactions, ultimately dissolves into a background noise of predictability. She is not wired to find solace in perfection without challenge. Instead, her attraction fires when she perceives a man who embraces complexity, who dances with her tests rather than ducks or pleads for peace. This dynamic activates primal respect, a force that demands your presence in her world not as a guest but as a compelling sovereign. In the theater of modern relationships, this ancient drama unfolds beneath layers of social niceties and cultural expectations. Yet the invisible currency of testing continues to govern her desires. Men who miss these signals become lost in a fog of frustration, unable to grasp why their earnest efforts fail to kindle that elusive spark. They are masters of compliance but prisoners of emotional passivity. Meanwhile, a different breed of man steps quietly into the shadows of her subconscious world, one who understands the sacred nature of tension, who wields resistance as a tool rather than a weapon, who embraces the paradox that to be genuinely desirable, he must sometimes risk being misunderstood or even rejected. For in that risk lies the magnetic force that pulls her deeper into the labyrinth of craving and connection. Each test she lays before you is a decision point, a crossroad where dominance and submission wage silent war within you. Will you crumble beneath her gaze, shrinking like a flame starved of air? Or will you meet her challenge, not with arrogance, but with the calm certainty of one who knows his value without needing to announce it? The latter is the essence of strategic dominance. It is the alchemy of subtle power that quietly commands respect and ignites desire. This is not dominance forged by force or intimidation, but by mastery of oneself, the psychological equivalent of a blade that is as flexible as it is unbreakable. It invites her to relinquish control paradoxically by trusting your strength to hold space for both order and chaos. Consider the behavioral consequences unfolding in the real world. The man who learns to decode her tests moves through social and romantic landscapes like a shadow with purpose, eliciting fascination and loyalty. His calm in the face of her emotional storms does not numb her but deepens her craving. His refusal to be a safe harbor devoid of mystery transforms their interactions into a game of shadows and light, where every glance and word carries weight. The emotional tension between them is not a sign of trouble but the very fuel of passion itself. Relationships that embrace this truth, this primal tension, avoid the slow erosion of desire that plagues so many modern couplings. They become living, breathing ecosystems where her tests are not threats but invitations to dance in the fire. And yet, there remains a deeper, darker lesson hidden within this dance, a truth that unsettles the neat narratives of romance and comfort. To master attraction on this level is to accept a certain discomfort as inevitable, even necessary. It is to understand that emotional pain, conflict, and the stirring of uncertainty are not enemies but essential instruments in the symphony of connection. This realization demands a higher order of psychological maturity, one that goes beyond surface-level charisma or social proof, calling for a man to embrace complexity without fear, to be an enigma that piques curiosity even as it promises sanctuary. For desire, in its purest form, is not simply found in ease, but in the exquisitely orchestrated tension between pursuit and resistance. Perhaps the most profound secret of all lies here, that desire is a living paradox, a biological fact tangled in layers of illusion and instinct. It is neither a prize to be won nor a problem to be solved. It is a secret kept by the woman's mind, a riddle whispered through milliseconds of expression and pulses of neurochemicals, and the man who learns to listen, not just with his ears, but with every fiber of his being, to these hidden signals transcends the limitations of ordinary connection. He steps into a domain where attraction becomes not a fleeting event, but a dynamic force continually shaped by the interplay of power and vulnerability, challenge and surrender. In this space, the human heart becomes a battlefield where evolutionary impulses and emotional paradoxes collide. A man who truly understands this does not seek to erase the tests but to embody the paradox they reveal, to be both shelter and storm, both certainty and mystery, both dominance and profound emotion. The moment she tests you is not a moment of casual curiosity, it is a crucible, a silent ritual sealed by ancient instincts far older than words, promises, or fleeting emotions. She probes to uncover an unspoken truth, a hidden code encrypted beneath layers of social mask and conscious expression. Whatever you think you are showing her, the attentive partner, the steady companion, the empathetic listener, is only part of the equation. What she truly measures is your capacity to remain an enigma wrapped in strength. A man tethered not to compliance but to a core that refuses to tremble. She doesn't just want answers, she demands a demonstration of inner sovereignty, a living testament that you are a force unto yourself, immune to the subtle poisons of insecurity and neediness. This need to provoke you, this biological fact, is born from a deep evolutionary impulse. In the wild theater of survival, a mate's worth was never dictated by mere kindness but by the ability to endure, to prevail when chaos threatened to consume everything. The dopamine rush she experiences when her tests are met with steady dominance is not arbitrary. It is the brain's reward system lighting up like a beacon in the dark, signifying a partner who can generate and sustain emotional tension without capitulation. This tension is the signal of life itself, the hidden desire encoded in our genes to seek out not tranquility but the electric surge of challenge overcome. Oxytocin, the hormone of bonding, swells most potently after the storm, not before, sealing connection with the added weight of proven resilience. What most men fail to grasp is that her tests are designed not to break you but to break through you, through the superficial layers of learned behaviors, politeness, or social niceties. They seek the raw, unshakable center of your being, showing her whether you possess the emotional fortitude to weather the relentless storms of both life and intimacy. Failure to maintain this center sends a biological alarm vibrating through her amygdala, triggering cortisol's cold rush and triggering her subconscious withdrawal. She recoils not to punish but to protect herself from unpredictable weakness. Her retreat is not apathy. It is survival instinct, an emotional firewall designed to keep her safe from investment in the unworthy. There is a deep emotional paradox at play. The very qualities most congratulated in modern society, consensus, agreeability, steady support, are precisely what dull the primal fire that ignites desire. These qualities foster comfort, and comfort breeds complacency and indifference. To be the man who captivates, you must settle into the tension. Lean into the discomfort she conjures. Let her tests act as a forge, burning away the gimmicks of performative affection. An emotional fortress is revealed not by passive shelter but by active defiance of the urge to please at your own expense. In this space, dominance is not domination. It is the art of quiet command where you stand firm without force. An immovable presence that paradoxically invites challenge rather than deflecting it. What does this look like in the texture of real life? It manifests in the moments of subtle confrontation, the unexpected question that cuts beneath the surface, the glance laden with unspoken doubt, the ironic smirk that suggests there is more to prove. Many men respond with anxious defenses, attempts to smooth over friction or to escalate reassurance. But beneath these reactions lies a fatal flaw. They concede control. Surrender the narrative to her emotional agenda. Instead, what must emerge is a fluid mastery over the dance itself, recognizing her provocation not as a threat but as a tacit invitation to reveal your true self. Your gravity. When you pause, refuse to react reflexively, and maintain your emotional architecture intact, something deeper shifts. Her neural pathways fire differently. Attraction deepens in a complex interplay of respect and curiosity. The intertwined dance of challenge and acceptance. The biology of desire is unforgiving in this regard. It punishes predictability and rewards ambiguity anchored by strength. The neurochemical cocktail coursing through her veins becomes a mirror not for your actions but for your emotional climate. Are you a storm or a calm lake? A man who melts and folds is the predictable calm. A man who stands and shifts with grace embodies the storm. She craves that dance of unpredictability, the thrill of unlocking a mystery that is relentlessly alive. This is why the deepest attraction always oscillates between tension and release. The push and pull of power dynamically balanced but never compromised. Philosophically, this reveals an eternal truth about human connection. Desire is not a sanctuary from conflict but an arena where hidden battles for value and truth are fought silently beneath the veneer of affection. To attract is to hold a paradox. That vulnerability and dominance are not opposite poles but two threads of the same intricate fabric. She seeks not just a partner who comforts but one who provocatively challenges the limits of her comfort. This duality is the essence of the secret psychology that governs the unspoken contracts between men and women. A coded language older than civilization itself. In recognizing this, you understand that passing her tests is not about compliance to her rules but a deeper negotiation within your own psyche. The real question is not merely how to pass but how to embody a magnetic complexity that invites continuous testing. A signal that your value is inexhaustible. Your presence an unfolding enigma. This is where true dominance resides, not in brute force or loud confidence, but in the poised mastery of emotional alchemy, turning every challenge into an opportunity to deepen the primal fire burning between you. So the next time she tests you, when the undercurrents turn turbulent and invisible forces rise to the surface, ask yourself, are you ready to stand firm in the storm? To let the fire burn not out of control but in refined brilliance? Because desire is not won by placating shadows but by becoming the light they cannot consume. The power to ignite her primal fire lies in your hands, but only if you first claim dominion over the hidden battleground inside yourself.
Desire, punishing, predictability, anchored by.
The moment when she crosses the invisible threshold. The point where her gaze shifts ever so slightly. The flicker of her pupils betrays a deeper question beneath her words. Is the crucible in which your entire worth, desire, and dominance will be forged or shattered? It is here, in the slim space between silence and response, that the raw biology of attraction rips away the civilized veneer of modern romance and exposes the dark, ancient script that has choreographed human connection for eons. She is not simply evaluating your charm or kindness. She is silently scrutinizing your capacity to hold your ground amidst the unspoken storms she conjures. This is the place where the illusions of being a good guy dissolve under the weight of evolutionary imperatives, and the true nature of your value ignites or vanishes. Within her lies an intricate interplay of instinct and intellect, a mysterious alchemy that can be both nurturing flame and merciless crucible. Her brain, wired on a primal level to seek security, stability, and promise of investment, simultaneously craves unpredictability, strength, and emotional potency. This is no contradiction but a biological fact, a dual signal transmitting on parallel channels. Dopamine, the messenger of excitement and reward, spikes in response to uncertainty and challenge. The delicious tension of testing that triggers her desire to engage and explore. Oxytocin, the hormone of bonding and comfort, pulses when trust is earned and boundaries respected. Thus, the dance she orchestrates is a delicate balance between pushing you into the realms of risk and grounding you in safety, but only if you prove worthy of both. Understanding this biological paradox is your first advantage, your secret weapon in a game most men never fully comprehend. The woman's test is never random nor malicious, it is a measured pressure. A psychological and physiological probe designed to elicit specific responses. She intentionally creates moments of uncertainty, not to unsettle you arbitrarily, but to measure if you can maintain cohesion under duress. Every subtle eyebrow raise, every fleeting smirk laden with ambiguous meaning, each mild contradiction between her words and her posture acts like a fine-tuned instrument searching for emotional resonance and psychological stability. The amygdala in her brain fixates on your micro-expressions, the modulation of your tone, the steadiness of your gaze, all signaling your biological fitness to navigate complex social and emotional landscapes. On an evolutionary scale, this pattern is not some relic of a bygone era. It lives in the very fibers of contemporary interaction. From prehistoric tribes where survival depended on discerning allies from pretenders, to today's nuanced courtships loaded with silent tests, the underlying principles have remained the same. Women evolved to be the ultimate gatekeepers, filters ensuring that only men with reliable strength, emotional endurance, and social agility were granted access to her most precious resource, commitment. This filter operates effortlessly beneath conscious awareness, like an internal algorithm running ceaselessly in the background. Her testing is therefore an unconscious exercise in survival and reproduction strategy but expressed in a language of unspoken power plays and emotional dialectics. Your ability to decode and navigate this language is more than charm. It is an exercise in biosocial mastery. But what happens when the man fails to recognize the true nature of these tests? When his defenses crumble at the first sign of challenge, when his response is to retreat into compliance, seeking only to placate, explain, or appease, such reactions trigger a cascade of neurochemical disappointment within her system. The dopamine-driven thrill evaporates, replaced by the dulling comfort that breeds emotional stasis, boredom, and withdrawal. Underneath the surface, subtle changes occur. Her cortisol levels no longer rise in response to healthy tension but instead spike with frustration or disengagement. The man she once encountered as an unpredictable force of attraction becomes a fixture of predictability, a known quantity whose emotional currency rapidly devalues in the marketplace of desire. Without tension, without the spark of challenge, the psychic field between them shrinks, and with it, the potential for passion withers. Conversely, when a man steps into his role as a resilient, unshakable presence, Someone who carries the weight of her tests with quiet confidence rather than brittle defensiveness. Something remarkable unfolds. He does not merely respond, he anticipates. He does not falter in the face of scrutiny, he embraces it as a necessary forge. The emotional paradox reveals itself. The very tension that threatens to push a weaker man away becomes the magnetic force that draws her nearer. Here, the release of dopamine entwines masterfully with the surges of oxytocin, creating a cocktail of neurochemical signals that deepen attraction into genuine connection. His dominance is not of the crude or coercive variety but a subtle, measured sovereignty born of emotional intelligence and evolutionary attunement. He becomes the axis around which her emotional landscape rotates. This dynamic is elegantly brutal because it shatters the cultural myths of romance propagated by sentimental idealism. Attraction is not a gentle blossoming nurtured through incessant validation and appeasement. It is a dark, volatile process marked by trials, setbacks, and power shifts. To accept this is to step beyond the naive scripts handed down by fairy tales and shallow self-help mantras. To master it is to embrace a deeper truth about human nature. That desire is, at its core, an emotional paradox, a blend of security and adventure, comfort and challenge, familiarity and enigma. Women's subconscious testing is the crucible where this paradox is resolved, and only the man who understands this hidden ritual wields the key to sustained attraction. So, what does this mean for the man willing to confront these truths? It means cultivating an inner fortress, one built not on bravado or entitlement but on genuine emotional resilience and confident presence. It requires the patience to endure her biological stress tests, without surrendering your essence, and the wisdom to interpret her signals without falling prisoner to anxiety or self-doubt. It demands you become a keeper of her mysteries rather than a solver of her puzzles. An enigma wrapped in the shadowy interplay of trust and intrigue. In this dark dance, you do not chase her light. You become the shadow she cannot resist. The very moment she tests you is the moment she invites you into a communion of silent power and unspoken promises.
You're more
Attraction,
than my assistant.
then, is not a prize
You're my
won by
rock,
benevolence alone but a challenge
voice
met
of
with strategic
reason.
subtlety and primal
You're my
confidence.
everything.
The woman's tests are not obstacles to be overcome by kindness but invitations to reveal your true nature beneath the societal masks of politeness and expectation. To fail is to fade into invisibility. To succeed is to awaken a powerful, almost mythic bond, one in which desire is constantly renewed. Tension becomes a source of vitality, and connection rises from the embers of challenge. The question is not whether she will test you. She inevitably will. The question is who you become when she does, and whether you have the strength to transform her trials into the forge of your own magnetic legacy. Because in the twilight realm of hidden desire and evolutionary impulse, the most potent signal you can send is this: I am unbreakable. Not despite your tests, but because of them. And that signal, resonating deep within